Hello and welcome back to the channel for the second part of my preview of Doctor Who Flux Chapter 3, Once Upon Time. Previously, I've taken a closer look at the episode's synopsis, so do go and check that video out if you haven't already. But this video is going to be focusing on the episode's cast list, the actors that we know are in this story and the characters that they are playing. And as ever, of course, there could be some omissions, some people that have been deliberately left off this list, but this is everybody that we know for sure is in the episode. And as ever, I've sourced this from the official Doctor Who website and also from the Radio Times. So first of all, of course, we have Jodie Whittaker playing the Doctor, we have Mandip Gill as Yasmin Khan, John Bishop as Dan Lewis, and Jacob Anderson as Vinder. And in addition to those four, we have a whole host of recurring characters that we've met in previous instalments of Doctor Who Flux. In fact, the majority of characters this week are recurring characters, characters that we've met before. So there's perhaps not too much to say about them overall, apart from speculating about the role they're going to play in this particular episode. But nevertheless, let's just go through them quickly. So we have Sam Spruell as Swarm and Rochenda Sandall as Azure. We also have Jonny Mathers playing Passenger, their sort of silent companion who was introduced in War of the Sontarans. I'm hoping he gets a bit more of a substantial role to play here and that we get to find out a bit more about his character. There is a theory going round at the moment that he is Diane in a different form. Obviously Diane was taken prisoner by Swarm and Azure in the first episode, Halloween Apocalypse. I'm not quite sure on that one myself. I think Passenger is probably something separate to that, but hey, time will tell, I suppose. We've also got Nigel Richard Lambert reprising his role as Priest Triangle from last week. Of course, last week we saw two of these Priest Triangle things getting dissolved by Azure. So presumably there are more of them hidden away somewhere, either in the Temple of Atropos or some other building on the planet Time. And so essentially this is just more of the same, I think. Obviously not the same Priest Triangles that got dissolved last week, but other versions of them hidden away somewhere else. We have Craige Els as Karvanista once again. Obviously he was in last week's episode as well, but in that instance his involvement was kept a secret, a surprise. In this case we're being told in advance that he's going to be in it. But of course, due to the nature of this story, which we've been led to believe is sort of made up of different dream sequences and flashbacks and memories and all these different perspectives and weird things going on, perhaps the version of Karvanista we're going to meet here is not the Karvanista that we know and love, but a sort of alternate version of Karvanista, or dream or vision version of Karvanista, or a past version of Karvanista, or just whatever. And that goes for quite a lot of the characters here actually. So next up we have Diane, played by Nadia Albina. Are we going to be meeting her again as we know her from episode 1? Or are we perhaps going to be seeing some sort of vision of her or clone of her perhaps? Because obviously last time we saw her, she was being held captive by Swarm and Azure. So are we going to be seeing her again? I think not. I think there's going to be some sort of catch to it or some trap involved to lure Dan to do something. Or maybe we're going to get a flashback with her, more time spent between her and Dan in the past, set prior to the scenes that we've seen so far. We have that old chestnut Joseph Williamson, played once again by Steve Oram. He has cropped up in both episodes so far, and it will no doubt be a similar story in this episode. You'll just be watching a scene set in the Temple of Atropos or somewhere, or Liverpool or wherever, and he'll just crop up from round a corner and clip in with some information or some question or something and then just disappear again. I have no doubt that that is going to happen. I don't think he's going to have a major involvement in this instalment. I think that's still to come in the second half of the series, and for now he's still going to be teased, just as he was in episodes 1 and 2. And then finally for the recurring characters, we have someone who we haven't seen since, can you hear me? In series 12, I think. Coming up to 2 years ago in terms of when that episode was broadcast, so it has been quite a gap. But she's in fact one of the most prolific characters of this era, if not the most prolific. I think previously that title was held by Grace O'Brien. Obviously she cropped up in loads of episodes across series 11 and 12 despite dying in the very first episode of this era. But now that record has been broken by Bhavnisha Parmar, who is returning as Yaz's sister Sonya Khan. She first appeared in Arachnids in the UK, before cameoing just a couple of episodes later in Demons of the Punjab. She was then in both halves of Spyfall Part 1 and Spyfall Part 2, then Can You Hear Me, as I've mentioned, and now she's back in this episode. In fact, come to think of it, she might be the only other character, apart from the Doctor and Yaz, to appear in all 3 seasons. I might have got that wrong. If I have, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, I can't think of anyone else who sort of holds that accolade, really, so good for her. But what's she doing back in this episode? An episode which is set on the planet Time, not Earth, not Sheffield. Once again, I'm guessing this is some sort of flashback or dream sequence. I mean, actually, come to think of it again, it wouldn't be the first time, because we of course saw her in a sort of dream sequence in Can You Hear Me, where she was on the hillside with Yaz and sort of goading her to run away from home and to get on and do it. So perhaps we're going to see more of the same, some sort of vision or dream or flashback perhaps. And then we have our new characters for this instalment. So first of all, we have Craig Parkinson as Grand Serpent, someone who will no doubt be familiar to people who have watched Line of Duty, like myself. He played the character Dot in the first 3 seasons of that show. And Dot, I think it would be fair to say, and I wouldn't be spoiling things too much, was quite a slimy character. And the fact that he's playing a character here whose name includes the word Serpent makes me think that perhaps we're going to be seeing a similar sort of idea in this episode. There is actually a promo image of him sort of whispering in Vinder's ear, which gives off those exact vibes, you know, someone who is trying to persuade people to do his bidding or whatever, and perhaps doesn't have the sort of best intentions at heart, I think it'd be fair to say. So yeah, obviously that is just speculation based on the fact that he's played that type of character before, and that his character here is called the Grand Serpent. But of course that in itself is weird, you know, the fact that he's named Grand Serpent. Is that some sort of placeholder for something else, perhaps? You know, are we hiding some information here, some secrets, some surprise? Or is this just some weird thing on a weird planet where someone is called Serpent, or holds that title, Serpent? What does it mean to be the Grand Serpent? Frankly, I've just got so many questions about this character. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Craig Parkinson in Doctor Who. Not a sentence I ever thought I'd be saying. He's not someone that I ever associated with Doctor Who, I ever thought might do Doctor Who. But yeah, here we are, and it's a lovely surprise to see him crop up in the show. And yeah, just very intrigued about the character he's playing. We have another new character who also looks set to be appearing in multiple episodes. This is Belle, played by Thaddea Graham, an actor who I am completely unfamiliar with myself. She's been in a few things over the past few years, I think, including some stuff for Netflix fairly recently. And yeah, she's meant to be quite a good actor, I think. So looking forward to seeing what she has to bring to the table as what looks to be another sort of Vinder type character, a sort of space hero, freedom fighter perhaps. She's got a gun, she's going to be in some scenes with the Sidemen by the looks of it, presumably taking them down. Interesting enough, sort of set on either Karvanista's ship or a ship which is very similar to Karvanista's ship, another sort of Lupari ship. So another character who is sort of shrouded in mystery really, someone who we don't know a great deal about. We know she's going to recur in other episodes like Grand Serpent. We know she's going to meet a character played by Blake Harrison from The Inbetweeners at some point, presumably in episode 5. If not in this episode, maybe he's been omitted from the cast list deliberately. So many questions, too many questions really. So let's move on now to the final 2 characters listed on the cast list. We have Barbara Flynn playing Aswok, an actor whose previous credits include A Family at War and Open All Hours and a whole host of other stuff that I found on Wikipedia. She's 73 years old and has had a fairly illustrious career as far as I can see, and is sort of fairly well known with people of a certain age, but not with me, myself. But interestingly enough, she's also done a couple of bits of voice work for Big Finish. So I'm thinking perhaps this could be another voice-only character in the vein of Priest Triangle, just purely based on that and also her age really. You know, someone who's 73 years old is probably not going to have that big a role or be doing that much running around or whatever. So I'm guessing this is a character who either doesn't move around a great deal or is just someone that we hear the voice of again, you know, like Priest, Triangle, perhaps. I mean, of course, obviously the name Aswok does bring to mind the Wok from last week's episode, Barbara Flynn, Aswok. Is there a sort of subliminal message there? Is Dan's Wok gonna gain sentience and come to life? Somehow, I think not, but hey, it's Doctor Who, you never know. And finally, we have Police Officer, played by an actor called Chantelle, Pierre, who is an up-and-coming actor from what I can see online. She's based in Bradford, so there's your Yorkshire connection, and if you add that, of course, the fact that she's playing a police officer, and the fact that last week, in the next time trailer for this story, we saw Yaz in police uniform again, just fleetingly, all of that would seem to suggest to me that she's going to be playing one of Yaz's colleagues, perhaps in some sort of dream sequence, or flashback, or whatever. And so that is it for another week. Everybody that we know of who is going to be in Doctor Who Flux Chapter 3, Once Upon Time. There is one other actor that might be in the story that we sort of know about, but there wasn't a source for this, so I'm slightly hesitant to include it here. But I thought I might as well just mention it briefly, just in case. So basically, on the website Cultbox, on their cast list article, they also include the actor Amanda Drew, who apparently has been in EastEnders amongst other things. And yeah, they don't give a name for the character she's playing, and they don't give a source either for where this information came from, which makes me a bit suspicious, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, I don't know, is this legit or not? I'm in two minds. It could just be a small bit part, a tiny role, or it could be something more substantial that is being held back and that has leaked somehow. But yes, she might be in the episode as well. She might not. It might be a load of rubbish. If you're watching this after the episode has been broadcast, you will of course know, and I'm sure you'll have lots of fun poking fun at my naivety in the comments. But if you're watching beforehand, what are your theories about these characters and the role they're going to play in the episode and the series beyond? And out of those new actors, who are you most looking forward to seeing in the episode? Be sure to let me know all your thoughts and theories in the comments section below. Please do like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already for more Doctor Who Flux related content. And I will see you tomorrow, I guess, for the final part of my preview of Once Upon Time. So do stay tuned for that. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye for now.